So welcome everyone once more to Women in Art organization. Um, and next to me, I have Michelle Chapin, who's your president of Women in Art of Trinidad and Tobago. My name is Clayton Freitas, and I'm here to talk to you about and to have you share about the whole important thing about ensuring your work of art. Whether you are an artist, an art collector, someone who just appreciates art or gallery owner, someone who is a person who buys art just for the purpose of, monetary, having it to resell. Okay, we have people like that who buy art and resell. They're not artists, they're not art collectors, they are more business oriented. Okay, these are the people, however, who would insure it. Okay, because they are looking at it that way. Galleries, number one, will insure as well. We'll go into that. So, looking at why we insure our art. Insuring our art is very, very important. All right. Years ago, in the art world, I'm going to talk about Trinidad and Tobago. Here in Trinidad and Tobago, and it spills over to the whole Caribbean as well. Insuring art, artists didn't really do that because insurance companies were few and far between. And when they started to come onto the landscape in a rapid progression, there wasn't that provision just to insure your art. And as an artist, to go and insure art, that was very difficult. So what one did was you insured it with your household contents. Um, and that brings a bit of problem from here to there. Okay, there are problems with that. Okay, now we look at that as we go along. Why do I insure my art as an artist? Why do I go through the trouble of bringing it in under my household contents to insure with the price and everything? Why do I do that? What is the reason? I don't want to really do that. Okay, so you don't want to insure your own personal art. Maybe you collect. Maybe you have come into two or three paintings, maybe a nice Louis Vuitton, nice Sibyl Tech from Granny or Daddy, or somebody has given you something for your wedding in art. Well, over a period of time, you should insure it. Some people I've witnessed have some most beautiful paintings that were wedding gifts. So you don't insure that. You have down the contents of your house, you have down the couch, the refrigerator, the washing machine, the dining set, but you do not have your art down in the thing because you never thought of it. Or it might be a little bit more or whatever to do. So you move on with it. And you know what happens? There's a fire, there's an earthquake, there's whatever there is, and you lose or the work is damaged, and now you have to have it repaired or you have lost it completely. That's why we insure our art. That's why we insure anything, all right? Anything and actually everything in our household contents. When we don't insure what belongs to us and something like that happens, a theft occurs, or physical thing like fire or whatever, or hurricane or whatever, and we lose it, there's no loss that can be returned as we have not put down any funds for it in an insurance company. And I know you're not going to get back that same piece, but you're going to get a monetary value. How many of you have looked at Antiques Roadshow? You're looking at Antiques Roadshow, the appraiser will tell the person, I think you should not, I believe you should insure this work. It's valued at four something, 4,500. You should insure this work at 10,500. And he goes in specifically, or she goes in specifically to it, meaning that yes, if it's lost, we know that cannot be returned, but this is the insurance. Many times, those people look back at him or look into the camera And you could see in their faces they never thought of insuring the work, one. And they're older people, eh? They never thought of insuring it. They never realized that this should be insured. And yes, your art needs to be insured. Over the years, I was president of the Art Society at one time and other things. Over the years, we always made lists, and the work was dropped off to us at a private exhibition. I remember having exhibits for people, and they would say, you know, Clayton, it's 30 something odd pieces. It's all here. Beautiful. Not a problem. Not a problem. And I tell them that the work is going to be insured. And you know what happens? Many times, many times, no one asks who the insurance, where the insurance is going. Is it one of the agencies? Can I say who it is? Nobody asks whether it's what insurance company that the society is going to insure it with, or what insurance company you as an individual who is a curator of an exhibition will insure it for. They take that for granted. Some good years ago, I'm not going to call the name of the artist, a very famous artist in Trinidad had a body of, I think it was 45 pieces. And he got to discover, he was told the work would be insured fully. Now that's a word people use. The works are all fully insured. So here's this man, this artist of recognition, thinking that yes, the works would be fully insured. The works were never insured. He got to find out that the works were too valuable. That's what they said, too valuable to insure. Well, I can tell you something. The more valuable the work, definitely insure it. And so this organization, this group of people, this body of people, never insured this man's work. And here you had people who, of course, you know, you're having an exhibition, coming to see your work, coming to see your work. I remember there was an incident in Trinidad years ago whereby work disappeared from a leading artist. And those works were insured. Those works were insured. Okay, so the works came back. Then there was another exhibition at another place whereby 3 pieces were removed from the exhibition. They weren't stolen, they were just taken down so that some maintenance work could be done to the wall. And here it is, public came and viewed it, and of course, cell phones today, public took pictures that this was an empty space, and out spiraled the fact that these 3 pieces were stolen, whereas they weren't stolen. Unfortunately, they weren't put back up. They weren't put back up after the thing. Insurance company was gotten in touch with, and the insurance company said that the work was not insured. Okay, so how do we remedy this as an artist? Okay, I'm going to talk to the artists now because the galleries know what they do. All right, as an artist, I like to see proof now when I am exhibiting, or in the past, exhibited with galleries. I will ask, what's in insurance company? Who are you dealing with? All right. My body of work of 30 something pieces. Can I get a letter from the gallery that states that all the works written in, don't give me a letter with 32 pieces of works of art have been insured. When you lose a work, the insurance company is not paying for a lost work unless it's detailed. I know that. Or they're not giving you anything in compensation, as we say. So you have to work on it. You really have to work on it. You're asking the gallery up front, if it's just 2 pieces you are exhibiting in a group show, you personally would like to have proof that your work is insured, and in that document, that document will contain the insurance company. 1. 2, the title of your work, the size of your work, the medium that you have, if it's oil, if it's acrylic, you want to see those things down in a letter, whether it's a watercolor or whatever it is. You have to name the medium, the size, the title. okay, in that document, and the name of the artist, Clayton Freitas. These are his two works accepted by whatever organization or whatever gallery or whatever, and signed and stamped with the organization or the private person who is having this show for you, their rubber stamp. Because it could all be there, the whole document could be there, and you know what? Something happens to your piece. And you know what happens again? Insurance company says to you, you did not do it the correct way. They don't say it like that. They say, we cannot honor. Now I'm using the words they use, eh? We cannot honor this. And you ask, now you are vexed and you're complaining and complaining to everyone. And I just tell you, it did not have the stamp. It did not have the stamp. Now you would say to yourself, whoever is looking after my work to give me this letter, they should have looked after it. You do not receive this letter or this document and sign for it unless you see that stamp, unless you see the letter has been signed by whoever it is and whatever it is, and the letterhead. If it is, I'm just going to do a fictitious insurance company. If it is the Clayton Freitas Insurance Company, you want to see the letterhead, the Clayton Freitas Insurance Company, and the stamp. Okay? This ensures your compensation if anything happens. Okay? When to insure art? Every moment of your waking life, it should be insured. Now, collectors, I'm going to come straight to collectors. Okay? Collectors buying, you're buying your art. You need that document too. I know you need that document. So you need a document stating what it is that you have purchased, the name of the artist, the size, everything, signed by the artist, signed by the organization, signed by the gallery, whoever is selling the work of art, you need it. Okay? You need the stamp from the gallery, the stamp from an organization, like that. And what you need to do is take that, as many of you know who do it, and drop it off to your insurance agency. That one piece purchased at $35,000, $1,000, $900 goes on a list of your works of already insured art. Okay? You might say, I don't have any of my works insured as yet. Well, it's time to get in, to look into this, all right? To look into this. And there'll be more on that. So you see, who do I insure with, really? Oh, okay. Who? Hunt around. Go to the insurance agencies and find out if it's just art alone you want to insure. Find out if there is a parameter, if there is a possibility just to insure your artwork. Years ago, they would tell you no, because they wanted the whole thing. They would say no, and it wasn't developed that way years ago for many of them. So they would say, no, you have to put it under household. Some of the companies now do it differently. Okay? They do it differently. They will insure the art as art, but you have to find out who is doing this. Now, I am taking two pieces into a gallery. As I said, I want the documentation. I want the documentation not only in one copy, but I want 2 copies done. 2. All right? Okay. I have a problem. I'm just going to say this. I'm an artist taking work into a gallery. They've asked me for 4 pieces for sale. So I take the 4 works of art, they're framed and everything, and I take them into the gallery. And, they tell me it's going to be insured, but I have a problem of speaking up for myself as an artist. I don't want to push any buttons. That's why it's good to have somebody, a good friend who knows it all, who is a good one, who knows it really all, who can go with you and say, wait a moment, Mr. De Freitas is bringing these 4 paintings in, and I want to know where and who and how, what kind of policy this is going under, whatever it is they want to know, for you, for your benefit. All right. Sometimes it's better to have somebody on the side speak for you, do all the paper collecting for you, and all of that for you. Okay. There's something I'm going to bring up here. Works of art have gone lost for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a few days. Why is that? You're having a group exhibition and there are forms to fill out. I hope so. There's a form to fill out of who is dropping the work off. You are dropping it off. Everything about the work, you sign the sheet, and the work, somewhere in it says, very fine that the work will be insured, blah, blah, blah. But upon collection that you need to collect the work personally, but you cannot go to collect it. So you ring up somebody or you text somebody with the phone and you say, listen, Juliet, go and collect the work for me, or Simon, go and collect. It's just around the corner at this place. Go and collect it. Just say it's Clayton and Freitas, blah, blah, blah. If the name, they will. And some places will give you the work because you are so, so thing, they will give you the work. And it happened once in a place that I know that a goodly priest, he's deceased now, he knew one of the artists and he would always say, I know this girl well. And he got a call right then and there. And I was with him and I was chatting with him because I knew him well. And he said, I'll take the work for her. And he took the work for her. He took the work back to wherever he lived, the presbytery or whatever. He put the work, because it went wrapped in the paper, back down. She did not know. She was frantic. She was searching for the work for 3 weeks. You see, I said he's a priest, so he's busy. She's busy too, but she is busy in search of this work. The work is not insured, one. Okay? The work is not insured personally by her. I'm going to get into that just now. Not insured by her personally, but she really wants the work back. You know what happened? What went wrong there? We can't think of everything, but when things like that happen, we do think of those. That he should have had a note. He should have been told, N.O., you cannot go with this, no matter who you are. If you know you could be the mother, the father, the child, N.O., we need a note with an image of the ID you're walking with, of the person, signed by them, the image of the ID, the identification image, and a phone call, not or phone call, and a phone call, or not no text, a phone call. So when he arrived, goodly father arrived with a note, if he did, with the ID, it would be no problem. But there was no problem to give him the work anyway. This is Trinidad. So they gave him the work, and 3 weeks it lay down. And then one day he mysteriously said he had the work. He told her mother. So you see what happens? What happens? Now, we exhibited art in a general area, a public gallery or something. So, or we just doing it like that, amongst ourselves in a household situation. We say, let's 5 of us get together and let's have a mini exhibition. Beautiful. You insure your works. You make sure that your 8 works are personally insured with the same sort of documentation, but this time from you. So you don't need no stamp or anything. You signing it, you're insuring it yourself, and you are making sure that you are safeguarded. That's what insurance is all about. Safeguarded. Over my years, I have seen insurance pay out for damaged works. And when I say damaged works, I mean like a clay object having fallen and something happened to it. The insurance company pays. Or painting that was scratched and we don't know how it got scratched. Just got scratched terribly. And it wasn't because of moving or lifting or anything. So, lots of things happen, but when it's done properly, it's done properly. Okay? Any questions before we kind of move on?
I just wanted to just touch on what you said about the insurance companies saying that they might not honor,
Yes.
the payment and so on if documentation is not properly done and so forth, right? If the correct procedures aren't followed. And it makes me think also of what happened as a result of the Carry Festa exhibition that we had a few years ago. This would have been maybe 8 years ago or something.
8 years ago. Yeah.
And what occurred as a result of that was that there was some leakage in the National Library. The museum, National
Right.
Museum, because the building was old. That's before the renovations had started, right? And they said that because of the amount of claims that came in from artists from places all over the Caribbean, they had, you know, exhibition spaces had started to put in a disclaimer. A disclaimer. So even though the building and all the works therein was insured and legally they were obligated to pay said insurance claim, right? They instituted this new practice, which I don't know is illegal. I'm not certain if that is legal, but it certainly isn't ethical. And therefore, I wish to make the point that we as artists have to seek our own interest to ensure that we have our personal insurance and not depend on those institutions.
Don't.
Because when we go now to submit work to the rotunda, I can say that, I can call names because it's public.
Yeah.
When you go to submit work at the rotunda, they make you sign this disclaimer.
They make you sign 3 or 4 forms. That's right.
Right, saying that your work should be insured, which means that you, the artist, need to take. They expect, that is their expectation, and they are not prepared to pay anybody making any claims. And I am quite aware that the rotunda would have had a few little leaks as well, right? So this, we have to be mindful that we can no longer depend
No, you cannot.
on exhibition spaces.
You cannot depend
to
on the
protect
exhibition
us
spaces.
or to fully seek our interests in that regard.
Yeah.
So this is a very, very important thing. I also want to make another point. It's not a question, Clayton, so I'm just making a little point here. Clayton mentioned the story about the priest who was doing a good deed, right? And he took the work, so and so. This recently happened to one of our members when we had a recent exhibition, and her daughter. So, we are listening to these talks here, and some of us are thinking, well, that's not going to happen to me. That doesn't apply to me. But it happens, right? This is Trinidad. It's a small place. Everybody knows everybody. Oh, I know her. I could take her work for her. I've collected mine. I could take it and so. Right? Some of us we live far. We depend on other artists to collect our transport to our work. Something can happen en route. All of these things. You're in your good nature. You are trying to assist. Well, in this case, one of our members, her daughter, collected her painting for her. And she was frantic when she went, and the painting was nowhere to be found. Daughter had it in the car and went driving. I shouldn't say driving. She was not at home, right? And mother was not informed and was frantic. And it could have been messy. We were able to sort it out in a short space of time, same day, thank God. But same issue Clayton was speaking about there. Now, the daughter was able to walk out with the painting. No security guard stopped her or anything. No systems were in place. No systems. The lines of communication were broken. The security was not enforced. Security was in place, but not enforced, right? And the same way the daughter could have walked out with an original work of art,
Anybody.
anyone could have done it. Anyone could have done it. And you know what? Wyatt might have been liable. The exhibition space might have been liable. So we have to protect ourselves, right? The organization has to be very concerned about insurance. We have to inform our members about insurance, and the members have to be concerned about insuring their work as well.
And what has to be done is all, and it seems tedious, but you see these forms, these, oh, now we're living in the age of, no, not internet and everything. You need the hard copy form. So when someone comes to collect a painting, you say, yes, we have that, but many people don't use it. So for galleries, a collector, an artist is finished doing his show or whatever, and he lets somebody else come, and they're professional people who come to collect. And this guy was telling me he used to work for one of the galleries in transportation. He said he would take the work to collectors, and the collector would receive the work, and he would stand there waiting for some sort of, they would say, it's okay, we'll get in touch with the gallery. And he told the gallery he's not doing any more of that transportation work again until the gallery organized with a note saying that it was delivered by X and so forth, and that they had to sign it. It came from the gallery. So a lot of these things have to be done. So when I'm going to collect my work of art from whatever gallery, I have it in a show like, say, Rotunda, I should be able to sign. And I have signed for that already. Signed that the work is leaving with me, with me. What I have done also is I've also have sent a note when I lived out in the Antilles. I had to send a note when I couldn't go and collect it with my identification card image photocopied, because they want to know it's me with my cell number in it, and they gave me a call. Clayton, did you send so and so so that they could release it? And it's a lot of work, but in the end, it helps us. Now, Michelle said something that was very important. I realized when I had the Civil Tech exhibition at the Art Society, I created that show, and insurance. The insurance wasn't that high. One would think, wow, it would be high. It was not. And but I was borrowing work from all these different places, from Central Bank and so forth. Central Bank arrived. They wanted to see the proof, just what I was speaking about there. They wanted to see the proof, the letter that they brought their letter that the work was insured by them. Now they wanted to see the letter that stated that we were insuring the work before they began to unpack the work. Before they began to unpack the work. And I had to show them the documentation in hard copy, make copies of it for them. So you can say, but that's a big thing to do. Not at all, not at all, not at all. We need to make sure that our work is insured, but we also need to take the precautions and insure it. And I can tell you personally, from having exhibitions, I've insured the work myself. And it was not at a lot of money. It was not at a lot of money to insure. People think, oh my gosh, I'm going to spend a lot to insure. No. What we will do is our next session, the follow-up session to insurance, is get personnel who know about it, who work within the insurance company, who could tell you about the plans that they're there. Not every company has, that they have set up for stamps, coins, art, on that line. Okay? Now there's an interesting thing I wanted to mention. Your work is on transport. You could have your work insured, and the insurance agency lets you know one time if anything happens to it and you're trying to claim. They said, well, you didn't tell us, you did not insure for this transportation. Okay? You did not insure telling us the work will be transported. They obviously know, but no, it's you don't say they obviously know. No. When work when major work or when your work is being transported, your whole exhibition work is being transported from the framer to whoever is putting the work up for you, there should be an insurance as it goes along. I try not to send my work with anybody, to deliver my work to anywhere. And I did it maybe twice the last time. So I fell short of that. Because I trusted the person and whatever. But some years ago, this is a serious matter. Some years ago, I had a driver, he's now deceased, and he was bringing for me some originals. He was bringing some original drawings that were done by some very good artists that I had on loan to one of the galleries. And they were large, but they were worth something. And he had 4 of them for me. And he had to make he had to make, I'm using your words, he had to make an airport run. So before he dropped them for me, he went to the airport. Now I live all the way in Maraval. So he went to the airport, and because he collected it during the day, he went to the airport, he dropped off the person. So you see how much driving he has done. My pieces are in the back of the car. He got into an accident. The car flipped over and over and over. He lived, but guess what didn't live? Everything he had in that trunk was smashed to bits. Now, here the thing, those works were insured. Insurance company, these were lovely drawings. Thank God they weren't very old, but I loved them. And the insurance company, I had taken out insurance on that particular set. The insurance company declined to pay when they heard how much travel the guy did. You know, he went to the airport, whereas he collected the work should have been brought straight to me. They said they would have given a leeway there. But in transportation, they don't cover it unless you ask them. You see all these little loopholes. You're working. Wow. So if your work goes up in the exhibition from the 12th of May and stays until your work is insured from the 12th of May, better believe it. But if the work is ending on the 24th of August, the work is insured until the 24th of August. It ends the day of the 24th of August. You say, well, I have time, I will collect. Now, remember, I worked in the Art Society. We had a room, people store their work. You would write them and tell them, you would call them and tell them everything. Listen, the insurance has come to an end. Many people didn't bother about that. And just what Michelle said there was a leak also in that room. And the artwork wasn't destroyed for these paintings that actually were on a very small incline. The water came through that area. The water destroyed the frames, the wooden frames. That's a destruction in itself. So what do you think the artist did? The artist wanted to hold us accountable for new frames, for getting money, and we had to bring it up. The exhibition opened on the 12th of May, I'm just calling dates, and finished on the 24th of August. And these are not the dates, right? But we told you the moment you brought it in, we made it quite clear. And that's another thing for whoever's receiving art. You have to make it quite clear over and over. You have to be the bad dog in this, because this is money. And when people's artwork gets damaged, whether you collect or whether you paint, you get annoyed that you can't get back funds because you haven't gone about it the right way. You have not. You should have collected on the 24th, the evening of the 24th, or the morning of the 25th. Risk it. We have risk insurance, all these different things. But you have this parameter of time to work within. Go the day before, tell them I need my work, take it down. I need it. Your insurance comes to an end. I've done that. I've taken down 6 works. The insurance comes to an end a particular day. I'm taking down all 6. Something I want to bring up quickly is not very quickly, but for you to think. oh, this gallery is taking my work. How happy am I? And you put your work in a gallery, and many of us artists checking it. And after a while, we forget because we have work here, there, and everywhere. I once had my work delivered back to me because the gallery was clearing out the storage room, and I knew the work was in the storage room. The work came back to me in the most horrific manner. The paintings were destroyed, but all the frames, all the mattings, and I'm talking watercolor, were gone. They were filthy. And when I called the gallery, the man who owned the gallery said to me, he started to be abusive, and then all of a sudden he came down. He said, we both share responsibility, Clayton. I said, yes. I said, my responsibility lay with you had too many works, and I should have taken away one. And your responsibility lay on the fact that you should have said, Clayton, very early on, you have too many. Can you collect? You can only insure X amount. Could you insure 3 of your works? All right. Any questions? Anybody with any question out there or comments? No comments. Michelle, anything?
I just, I mean, it is very, very enlightening, all that you are saying there. It's very enlightening.
It's shocking.
Some of the points that you are raising, especially the issue of the transportation.
Yes, I just want to cut it. The transportation, I was shocked. I was shocked that some big collectors, 2 collectors bringing art to, because I also did the Aladdin, the work for the Aladdin. And when the Aladdins came, this collector brought the work and said the work was not insured by just the transport. They had the work insured in their home, and they made sure the work was insured for that's another thing. Sometimes the work would be insured in their home, and the work is insured only in their home. So when they lend it out now, it's not insured in the gallery. So that is why places like Central Bank, they know about it. So they want to see your insurance. They have insurance, but they want, and hello, these were attacks, enormous pieces, $300,000, $500,000. Wow. Okay? They're not letting that out of the vehicle. Whereas a collector now talking to the collector now, sorry, Michelle, coming into the society are only so anxious to show the 2 attacks they have. They haven't asked about insurance. They haven't asked about when the exhibition comes to an end. They're so happy to show it. Then they're really happy. They're really, really happy. And anything happened to that now?
So, Clayton, this makes me very mindful, as president of Women in Art. I'm very happy that we are really fulfilling we're doing a very important service here in terms of education, not just for our members, but for prospective buyers, prospective collectors, because these are really insiders information, that we would not have known had it not been for this forum here. So
there's so many experiences. There is something called over insuring your work. Now, that is very easy to do. Antiques Roadshow would put up, yes, the work is insured, but they have a group of people, insurers, who look at it again, and you see the thing goes up $15,000 and it goes down for $5,000 because it's not insurable at that rate. It's not worth that. So I've always said, I've been the bad gun for it. I've always said the work is worth $5,000 from the artist. Are you sure? Let us see. Let's see. Okay. Well, the work will be insured like that. But you are now out painting and you think the work should be insured. But the work is worth $12,000. So the work goes up in the organization, say on the gallery walls or wherever, whatever, as $12,500. So collectors come, people come, who is that? And I know of an incident, Who is that person? 2 incidences I'll give you. And then you say, oh, well, I would never pay $12,000 for that. and you go on your way. The gallery is insured that for 12,000. Who loses? Not the artist. You know, the gallery has had to put out the premium high insurance. I remember once they asked me, they said, Clayton, when you see these forms come, deny them with with the value at such an exorbitant rate. So we had a very well-known artist that came and his work was 10,000. I ticked it as accepted. I mean, I knew this work, she wants 10, it will be a little more, not a problem, it will sell. And so it did. A young man brought a piece. We'd never seen him before. So I told all the people accepting the work to be on the way, be on the guard, and this will happen. I'm patrolling like a watchdog, moving around. And she's an artist, she called me and she said, this young man, photographer, he has this beautiful big piece, just so, standing up. She said to me, the only problem is that he wants to sell it for 10,000. Now, remember I said there was this well-known artist who came in at 10,000. And you know something, they were sitting side by side, just a little space. And he was filling in his form, the well-known artist, 10,000. He was talking away, this young man at 10,000. And I told him, you see one of those tables across there? I put them up specially so you could go and sit in them with your form, rethink your price, because I'm not insuring your work at $10,000. We are not insured. And he looked at me, he got angry, and then he went across, then he came up, and then he just left. Days later, not days, day after he came back to resubmit. He went to the same lady. She called me. And she said, look, he has his work now for 1,500. I said, yes, that could be insured now. Let them know you. I said, how did you reach at that? You see why it's important to have people in your life? He said, I went to my mother. You obviously lived with her. And the mother said, you have to creep before anything else. And it's not worth that amount of money. Told her own son that. And the work sold. The work sold. So sometimes we are putting the organization, sometimes we are putting ourselves in jeopardy by paying whatever high premiums or whatever for the artist this is, for works that are overpriced. Collectors, that's a different matter. Collectors, you are given the valuation sheets, and that's something that all artists should look at. Michelle sells a piece, Clayton sells a piece. Like last week I sold a work, I had a valuation sheet signed by me, dated by me, with the insurance value, which was more everything. The person came, they collected it, they were happy. They said, this works well. I haven't got this in years, and they were going to drop it off. They said, what happens is some galleries give them that, but they've never experienced artists giving them that. And I said, no, there are artists out there who will give you this. So collectors, be on your guard that you're buying a piece from the studio of Clayton, whoever. Clayton would like that document. It's very simple to do that document, Get a document done up, sit down, get a document, go online, see how the document is done up, photocopy them, have them in a folder. They're called valuation sheets. All right, so when somebody comes to purchase, you get that. Where collectors go wrong? Not having their work insured, not having their full body of work insured. Where do artists go wrong? Not insuring your work that you paint, that you create, but also that you collect. You figure it's never going to happen to me. It's not going to happen to me, I'm not going to lose this piece. The work that was in the car, I waved sayonara, I waved goodbye to it with a and I don't even have a picture of any of them to tell you the honest truth. And before I ask anything more, in today's world, we live within photography. We live within our cell phones and so forth. Take the images of your own personal works. Take the images, collectors, take the images of your work already on the wall. not separate, then do the separate. It helps the insurance company. A big deal. Big deal. To authenticate that the work is within your collection, that the work belongs to you. Right?
So I wanted to, ask a couple of things, right? Can you speak to how certificates of authenticity would be used by a collector when claiming for insurance? That's one. And what are the must-haves on a certificate of authenticity? Because as an organization, we provide that service. Two, I want to raise the issue of also the weather, the climate we live in, how the weather affects our
Horrible.
work. So that's another reason why workers need to be insured,
Definitely.
right? And oh gosh, there was another point, but it floated my brain. So I'm hoping it will come back by the
Now,
time you finish speaking about it.
I want to start with the deterioration of work.
Yeah.
Very important. Yesterday I was looking at one of my favorite shows. It's not my favorite, but Antiques Roadshow. So this woman brought in the most beautiful lamp done in Nouveau style, and it was Egyptian-like. And I looked at the man who was authenticating it, and I said, something, you're terrible, just like that. Just because there was a little discoloration, because it was copper, and copper goes green, just a little bit on the mouth. I thought that would have made it more interesting. He said the value had gone down. And I said to myself, no, fella, you're not right. But anyway, within the Caribbean, if you're a watercolorist, there are mites that you will have that will attack the work. So one reason for changing out frames, I did it some years ago of some work that I had painted, and I had painted this whole body of work. The galleries in those days were not doing conservative glass, museum glass. They were not doing any of these things. So you know how they used to mat the back? Some of them did it with cardboard, cheaply, and put on a ordinary frame for you. Some of these frames, if you took them and kept them that weren't sold cardboard, you are inviting mites, you're inviting insects to come and live in it. All right, roaches love cardboard. That's where they nest, in cardboard. So matter if it is so flat, the little German roaches will come and nest in that. And before long, they'll be eating the paper. Yeah. Young ones have to eat something, and they'll be eating the paper they eat through. That's one. And I had all that first set of work reframed. It cost some money, but all our work is sold. And that work sold for much more. You understand? And it didn't cost me $500 to do each piece. It simply meant, because in watercolor, there's a backing also that will deteriorate the paper. All right? It works to deteriorate everything. It's not meant to do this. And if you're not aware of all of these things, having it up for 2 weeks is okay. 3 weeks is all right. Then really you should get it out of, and you don't have time to frame it, in a folder, away from the glass, away from that. So you have deterioration. In oils, you have deterioration in acrylics. We're living in the Caribbean. We have termites. We have all these other mites. And it happens to art. It happens to butterfly collections. It doesn't happen to coins, you would say, yes. It happens to the variety of things that we collect, stamps and all that, because I'm a stamp collector too. So we also have to be, as artists and collectors, not because I buy a work of art for $35,000 and say it's a Greenwich. Okay. So it was nicely framed, God rest his soul, Mark Pereira, nicely framed, everything, and he would have done it the very best. I hang it at home, and I leave it hung there. It's going into its 5th year. That work should have gone, 35,000. That should have gone to the cleaners. When I mean the cleaners, it should have gone to a gallery, be taken down, transported to a gallery, frame open. I had that done with my bride. Opened up, cleaned out. I had that done with Pat Bishop's work too. A little piece, so I had on the attic. I had them take them down, clean them. The attic I bought frame from an old collector. And I said, no, this you're not gonna buy it. Collectors, I hope you're listening, not gonna buy it and just put it on the wall. Another way of kind of stopping deterioration, I had a cleaner here once and I nearly lost it. Well, didn't lose it. I just kind of, oh, what is she doing? She was cleaning all the frames, the top of the frames. Every time she came, she cleaned the entire frame with a nothing wet. She cleaned it with a Swifty. And then she brought a diaper. I said, a diaper? What's that for? And it felt nice. You know, old time diapers. And the cloth. And she cleaned the top of the frames and the bottom. And then she took the glass and she just cleaned it. No glass cleaner. I try to keep that way with brushes and all that. From time to time, I do it. But as collectors, as artists that have your work stacked up because, oh gosh, I have these works stacked up here for a while. Are you moving them? Once you move them, then nothing's going to live behind them.
But Clayton, I want us to stay on course with this.
Uh-huh.
How is this going to connect? How is this going to impact the insurance?
Okay. So what will happen is all that work is insured, but I mistreated it. There are people that the insurance company will have within their ranks. Here, I know in abroad, yes, that they will tell you that you mistreated the work. They will find some little loophole to tell you that this is impossible. Point of a matter is stolen art in the States, in Holland actually, 2 Van Goghs. And the works were discovered, but the other works that were discovered were badly deteriorated because we're looking at organized crime. Remember I started, there are people who buy art for all different kinds of reasons. So they stole the work and they rolled the work up. And they traded the work for 10 million, 10 million, 10 million, 2 million. Work stayed rolled up for years. So what happened, as the curator of the gallery said when they got back that work, and they showed you images, the work was almost deteriorated. And they went to the insurance company of the gallery to see it, and the insurance said, "No, the work was insured in the gallery. The work went to all other places." So that's another thing. I have a personal work that I am painting, and I paint it as an artist. I have it framed, and I give it to my aunt. Don't give it, I loan it to her. And something happens, so I want to claim it. Insurance that I made says this work is hanging at my place.
So how do we protect ourselves then?
Then you say to the insurance company when you're given this work, you see the work is here, I'm going to loan this work out. I'm loaning this work out to my aunt, not my aunt. I'm loaning this work out to Mabel de Freitas at whatever address for a period of 6 months. Still to be insured by me, but separately now. Okay, so you could, all those little clauses can be done. All right, it's a lot of work. Collectors would know this who seriously insure their work. They would get the valuation sheet, and it's a serious matter. It's money. It's money they have paid. So they take that valuation sheet with your signature from the gallery straight to the insurance company. They drop it off. That's money. It's money. Us artists now, we are lackadaisical. I hate to say it. Many of us, not all of us, many of us, even the top ones, are lackadaisical because they store art, they pack art, they cram art, and we too, art gets damaged. Sometimes the insurance has to be renewed, and we think it's insured forever. And we stop payment in it sometime or whatever. So when we go now and we say yes, they say no, look at the date. All right, look at the date. That's why I say collectors are very, very thin, you know. people who have, you see, they are business orientated. There's a part of them that is business minded. They have a work that they can resell for X amount of money, maybe if they want to, not now. But us artists, we don't think of insurance. We don't, the end part of it really, when you insure, you're insuring your, your own peace of mind, knowing this is what happened to this top artist. He could not sleep when I drew his thing. He could not sleep. He was having a hard time. And I said, why don't you take out the insurance on it? And he did.
So, I'm seeing that you really need to get the professional to come in for a subsequent workshop, because I have all kinds of questions.
Yeah.
How do I protect myself then if my work is stolen, like what you mentioned there on the international scene? If my work is stolen,
the work could get stolen right here.
Right. If it's stolen and it ends up all about the place, do I lose my insurance because it's been mistreated, or it has left my home
or left the country?
Right. So we need to have,
and then you need proof that you didn't sell the work.
Correct. So we need to have these questions really answered, because we definitely, as you're saying, it's peace of mind, right? And all kinds of things can happen.
All kinds of things happen. And not only that, every insurer, and I'm going to be honest, all these insurance agencies are not going to bother. They're going to bother, yes, because they want to insure your work. But there are some who have been insuring works of art for decades. So they're familiar with it. Okay, they're familiar. They know the clients. Some of their clients are long deceased and whatever. But let's say Central Bank, they have an insurance company that they insure their work. The Art Society, collectors, you all would have people, insurance companies or whatever. But not every company is open to insuring the art at what it's really valued. That I found out some years back. You would present them, let's say, with this Greenwich figure, and they might not even bother with that. They will put it down. Household, if it's in the household items, they will start to question it. So something happened to your Greenwich at $35,000. You will not get the $35,000. Now that's another thing. In insuring work, I don't know how it works out now, but you get a percentage of that. You get a percentage. So let's take Antiques Roadshow. Let's go back to that point. They value the piece at $4,000, but they have you insuring the work at $10,500. Why? They know this is going to be the reason. They don't even need to put it down. They know that the insurance company or whatever is going to say, okay, we give you the 10. Like medical insurance alone.
Yeah, it's like medical insurance.
Yes, you put out $5,000, frames, glass, and everything. They're coming back with cents. They're coming back with dollars. They're coming back with you past the time or you in the time. Check the date on your forms. Very important on your insurance quote. Everything. The renewal of your thing. So next time, I guess we can go through that, as we said. Any questions, any comments?
Yeah, I have one that you didn't answer.
Oh,
which is about the certificate of authenticity.
Right.
How will a collector use their certificate of authenticity to claim for their investment?
All right. What I would do is when I have done the certificate, it's always the certificate should always be given, not even at the request. Just give the certificate, okay, when the work is sold. So I know that certificate is going in hand of the collector, and whether they take that certificate to the insurance company, drop it off for the insurance company to add to the rest of the works of art that they have in their collection already. That's a collector. As an artist, well, we just have to have one sheet with all the works insured in it. We don't need valuation sheets. But a valuation sheet is very important for the insurance company. They want that. They really want that. They really want that. because they're going to ask they're going to ask Clayton if how did you arrive at that price?
So you want the valuation sheet together with the certificate of authenticity.
Yes, yeah.
So
And you see what makes the authenticity from the artist is the artist's signature.
Yeah.
And what is making it more today is if you have it. I have seen some certificates because I have preached about certificates, and I had a workshop in the Art Society once I gave, and these artists did their certificates up, and they did pictures. They said, Mr. Freitas, that's the way we have to go with their own logos. That's the way you have to
so
go.
how
The picture of the work of the art, eh?
yes. So what I should say, shouldn't the valuation sheet be done by an expert professional?
No, you're paying for that, yes, but that should the valuation sheet comes in because I have done it by an expert or whoever when you have a full collection of work. When you have work that mummy's been collected.
So not
now
for
I am
individual pieces.
No. Individual pieces, you titled it valuation, art valuation from the artist or whatever. That stands on its own. That's the provenance. That stands on its own.
So that could just be on the certificate of authenticity,
Correct.
not
That's
necessarily
authentic. You have
separate.
your signature in it, and go one step further. If it is of this painting or that paint, take a picture of it and put the picture on that. There are programs that you could do that. Apple has programs.
Right. So we do that.
Right.
We do that on our certificate of
Yeah.
authenticity. But
Right.
you are saying that if
Let it be dual. So maybe you do 2 sheets or 1 sheet. This is your sheet that values it, and this is a sheet of authenticity. Yeah, 1 sheet, and you make a copy for yourself, for the insurance agency. You make 3 copies. Now we're famous. If you have exhibited work in Rotunda or any of those places, it's about nearly 4 sheets or 3 sheets you have to fill out. I'm always complaining to myself, but it's not to complain, it's to safeguard them. Okay? But this is to safeguard you now. So maybe you have to redesign that sheet. So the first part is a certificate of this done in year, so and so and so and so, medium, this, that. The more you put on the sheet, it's better. The more you leave out. You say, oh God, let's make the sheet real nice and clean and clear. Insurance company will ask you, how did you arrive at that $35,000? Okay, so how did you arrive? Because that $35,000, that man is dead. He's gone. That man, that artist would not have sold that work at 35. It is appreciated. Okay, that's when you need to call in a valuator. And where do we have these valuators? Well, Horizons will value the work for you at a cost. Mark Pereira and Dulcie used to, that's 101, used to evaluate. There's no one there to evaluate now. The Art Society, I don't think there's anyone there to evaluate. They wouldn't value it. And when I was there, we used to send people to the galleries, like the known galleries here in Trinidad. And if they can't, they will send you to another gallery. All right? But you're paying a fee.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know how much the fee is. But I mean, you can be saying to yourself now, oh gosh, I have so much artwork lying down that I personally don't need a evaluator for. You are your evaluator because you have painted it. So what you need to do is just not take the work of art. You need to take a figure of the frame. So you can't remember how much you paid for that frame. All right. So put on $500. Framing $500. All right. Put the year. If you could see the year, if you could estimate the year 1977, work created. All right. I like to put the whole thing in work created because then they realize work painted. They understand that they are not in the art world. All right, the work has been created, the work has been made. Don't put made, though. Work has been created. Okay, we have to talk their language in so many terms. The art world has its own language, the insurance industry has its own language, but we are coming to them. They're not coming to us. You know. Anything? I've answered anything more?
I don't know if anyone else has any questions. We have the Q&A. Let me check the Q&A to see if anyone
Yes, check.
put any questions. It's still time for people to type in questions because we have about 16 minutes before we end.
I'm just looking over my thing here to see.
Any comment? Oh, I see a hand up or something. Someone has a hand raised. Okay, let's see now. No.
Now, you're taking a risk if you don't insure it. It's your responsibility to know it as a collector, as an artist. Okay, we are assuming art galleries know that their work must be insured. We're not going down that street. Okay, let them talk. Let them talk for themselves and amongst one another. But that's normally the case. All right. In today's world, we have what you call fraud. We have theft within art itself, fraud, theft, and we have these people who are very, very good at, I'm not going to say the word, but duplicating our own art. You know, fake art goes out there. It just hasn't really touched Trinidad. Yes, it has. Some years ago, very well-known artists. You would say, what does this have to do with insurance? And it has a lot. This piece of art was in a little shop for sale, an art shop. And the artist passed by and saw a work that resembled his that did not have a signature. And when he went in, they said, we're so happy to have a piece by. He said, it's not mine. And he got infuriated. He called me, he must have called everybody under the sun. He wanted that work removed. Of course, she removed it. He wanted the work destroyed. He wouldn't, the artist, in fact, the person knew who the artist was. She got in touch with them. She reprimanded them. Well, she thought that he was doing these things that are knockoff. But he didn't realize the only thing he wasn't doing was signing the artist's name. So this is at least 10 years ago. More than 10 years. This has already touched us. This has already touched us. The medium was acrylic. So this has already touched us. Some years ago, I had to do evaluation, not evaluation. I had to do something with one of our banks. We didn't get to do the whole process because of gallery space, because its pieces were enormous. That was viewing work that the bank bought, the bank, without anybody who was employed to buy work for the bank. The bank bought prints, spent a lot of money buying one print at a time, one print. They were fooled into how the artists did separate prints and had them signed. I made the bank take each of those prints down. All I couldn't tell the bank was to destroy them all. I let the bank deal with it. And then I turned to the bank and I said, you do not have any work by this individual. How sad. And they could have afforded it. They could have afforded it. And they would, whoever it was that was purchasing, whoever was given the off chance to buy and have it approved, was buying prints. Being told it was lithographs, being told a lithograph and a print is two different things. Being told it was a this and a that and the other, all different things. Very careful. Collectors, you have to be very careful. Woodcuts, lithographs, all these things that you are told, you have to make sure that they are there. That's insuring yourself. You want to see the figure for it, but in this case, the figure was high for each piece.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So there are forgers. I really didn't want to say the word, but there are forgers out there. I met one in the Art Society years ago. I was not a president, I was just an ordinary member. And this girl came up to me and said, I could paint just that on the wall. And I said, it's just a trilly explanation. And you know what? She sent me that. She took a picture of it, painted it. Now you would say, well, she didn't get every detail in. No, she did. She submitted it for an exhibition, and I was luckily there, and I turned it down. Can you imagine? And then we had two others coming in to be insured. So this is important. Works coming into the show, but coming into the show means they get insured, and both were the same. They were parrots. One of the artists there working with me said, Clayton, come. One came from an inmate. Now, inmates, I work with inmates. Inmates only have what is available, what you give them to paint from. But this was an artist. And I had to confront her. And she was adamant that it was original. I said, okay. And I went online. I found it because the artist was online. Because, I mean, he had the online to use. And because he was very sorry about it. She wasn't sorry. And I had to literally push it in her face. I said, you would have asked us to insure a work that you forged from, that you copied from online. Copied actually and forged, a little two different things. But still, in my book, the same. Anybody?
Wow.
Well, those are blow minders, eh?
It is blowing my mind.
Those are blow minders. Because then we would have taken the work, literally, we would have said, you know what, the inmate could have done that or whatever. We looked at both of them before our jury came and said, this is not making social media, this is not making anywhere. And we didn't even take the second piece from each artist. Because the second piece, we don't know. You give us one, you lie to us about one piece, you're giving us a second piece, and it's that piece we really would like the jurors to take. But sometimes as artists, we really have to question our ethical approach. Even those who paint from photographs. I had a situation here that a gallery had a well-known artist. This is important. They insured the work for the artist. So this work was done in acrylic, and the artist had gone online, seen work, got in touch with all the other photographers, it seems, told them that they were doing this, and couldn't get in touch with this one photographer. So in the evening, the work sold. But do you know the gallery used that as a promotional base, that image? Very well-known artist. I cannot say the name, but many people might know immediately. Tobago-named artist. He erupted. He contacted me immediately. Do you know so-and-so? I said, yes. Why? I was at the show. And he was here in Trinidad in less hours than you expect. Clothes on his back. And he showed me the image. It was a painting he did. So all the artists did, not aware of it, they thought they were looking at a photograph. They painted exactly what he did and put one thing in it. And when I mean exact, I mean they forged it without realizing they thought they were looking at a photograph. So you say, how does that relate to insurance? Well, very much so, because the work of art went in to the gallery, was insured, the gallery got a bad name for that one incident, because if that could happen anyway. The artist went and promoted herself. The guy from who the painting really belonged asked to be destroyed and everything. But the work was sold. The work was out of the country in a day. She had no, and he had no, and nobody had no. It was gone. It was gone to an overseas person that viewed it and took it one time because they had loved it.
But he could have demanded some compensation.
He demanded, I don't know if he ever got it. And oh yes, he demanded the compensation. Then I think he said no to it. and the artist wanted to give him everything for it. And he said no to it. It was a heated thing, and I stayed out of it eventually. But I tried to stay out of it, and I did stay out. But you see, that's why when we paint work, it has to be original to present a gallery.
Yeah, in concept.
Yes, to present a gallery that collector might be buying, and the collector put it in their collection now. It's worth nothing.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
So in that instance, isn't the gallery responsible? Because isn't the gallery responsible for ensuring that the works that they are exhibiting are originals?
Yes, the gallery is not responsible. The gallery is only responsible for selling and looking after that piece of artwork, that it arrives safely, that is hung well and everything. Their responsibilities are more than one. The responsibility lies on the artist. On the artist. The artist must know ethically that I have made copy or forgery. I have signed my name to it. The gallery hasn't signed their name to it. I presented it to the gallery, and now within the Caribbean, the gallery going to look at it and they're going to say, "Oh, it's a beautiful work, Clayton. You have done a wonderful job. A little bit out of your ordinary thing, and styles change." So the gallery was not responsible. The gallery was responsible for ensuring it, keeping it safe. They had it packed up and delivered. It went to Canada the following day.
So was this a known artist, the
Yes.
forger? The forger was the forger.
Yes, both.
But then that
Both.
artist, as a seasoned artist, should have known better.
Correct. It is a horrible lesson when you go online and you just, for your collection, say, okay, I'm having an art collection. I want to have paint and I'm looking for images. Better you take your phone and go and photograph. I teach art, and I tell those who come, look at the online thing, but not use what is there.
You know,
What?
So in that respect, now, Michelle raised before about the certificates of authenticity.
Right.
We only do COAs if they're requested by the artist. Now, if you say in this
You mean the buyer?
No,
the
artist.
artist.
Yeah. Right.
Yes. So in this instance, this is a well-known artist. So if this artist had come to us for a COA, we would have issued the COA.
You would have issued it.
And on that, and on the clause, the disclaimer on the COA says that this is an original work.
Original work of art.
So now
and that's
then,
what went.
Would we be, so we as Wyatt, we will then would have been liable if the buyer said, listen, you all sold me this.
Yes, because you have made a documentation. All right. You have stated the work is an original. The work is not done from an original with X amount of changes, because you could have 7 changes or whatever. But let's get back to that. The gallery that sold the work had already issued a certificate of authentication for the gentleman, because it's a man who bought it, who wanted it. He's a collector, still alive and everything, for insurance purposes in Canada.
Wow.
All right. So, but we are dealing here now with originality.
So how do we resolve said issue? Because the only thing that I could think of, right, is on ethics. The only thing that I can think of as a solution to that, because this is an issue for collectors, it's an issue for Wyatt, right? And for the industry as a whole, is that I mean, in the wording of the certificate, right?
What I'm thinking too.
It's something we have to really think about.
What I'm thinking as well is that, this is coming through my mind, where it says originality, let the artist sign.
Yeah.
Just like how insurance could have so many different tiny loopholes
Yes.
and tiny things. That's why I said do the certificate above or whatever.
And you have a little affidavit or something that you
Right.
are swearing that this
Yes.
by an
So
original by
it-
you
It does not
to
come back.
indemnify one.
Correct.
Correct.
And when in the possession of the collector, all right, I have a box over here of all the certificates that I have, you know.
Yes.
Every time I purchase the book, I put it in that box. I reread it. I look at it. I'm not happy with it. I get in touch with the gallery. I said I paid $7,500. I paid $25,000 for this book. I'm not happy. I want more on it. And they reissue something. Because when you all have a comprehensive thing. So what I'm saying is next to originality in that separate area, have the artist sign. It may sound like a lot. Have the artist write the name in block letters, then sign. Okay? And you see on that whole form, have two signatures. Always on a form like that, have two signatures from the organization, like your signature and your signature as well, so that the bird, I have a bird in here.
It's just the wind with.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you have two signatures. You have what you call, Michelle, leave them. You have what you call witness. This person has witnessed, and you all have to witness the artist signing it as well.
Well, Clayton, you are leaving us on a very, very hot topic.
Yeah.
We have to stick to our timing. We
Yes,
are
we need.
1 minute. We are actually on the button because I have another appointment, right?
Right.
But on behalf of the organization, I want to thank you so much for this very, very, very insightful workshop. I am sure that everybody here has really seen the significance of this workshop, and we are certainly looking forward to the sequel, to the follow-up.